Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Yogananda said that there was a secret link between the body and the spirit.
I'll be able to help others in the best way possible, yes, but also having a true guru will take me to that answer.
The Venerated Paramahansa Yogananda Vegetarian. Awake, the life of Yogananda and the answer. Continue watching to find out more.
Lovely viewers, the kind-hearted people of Bangladesh would like to say Shagatam to visitors. Thus welcome in Bengali. I am Arman. The Bangladeshi citizens send you warmest wishes. Today we will present two inspiring spiritual movies about the venerated enlightened master Paramahansa Yogananda. Awake, the life of Yogananda is a 2014 documentary about the great Indian guru who brought yoga and meditation to the West in 1920s and inspired millions of people seeking spiritual awakening. The film begins prior to the birth of Mukundalal Ghosh, later known as Paramahansa Yogananda, to a devout Hindu family in 1893. His parents' guru, Swami Lahiri Mahasaya, not only predicts the birth but also specifies that through Yogananda, many shall receive the spiritual enlightenment of India, and stated that the message of yoga will encircle the globe.
I was conscious in my mother's womb. On one side, I wanted to express myself as a human being. Yet, on the other side, I didn't, because I felt I was spirit.
Yogananda happens to be what I would call a spiritual prodigy.
Steve Jobs apparently had only one book on his iPad, The Autobiography of a Yogi.
The LA Times called him the first superstar guru of the 20th century.
Through this body, many shall receive the spiritual enlightenment of India.
At the age of 17, Yogananda meets his own guru, Swami Shri Yukteswar Giri, whom he has seen many times in his visions and who will train him for the next 10 years. Yogananda's master informs him that he has been sent by the great guru of their lineage, Mahavatar Babaji, for a special world purpose, to bring Kriya Yoga to the West, just as Swami Lahiri Mahasaya had predicted. Yogananda then leaves everything behind and follows God's will to the far lands of the United States of America.
God is taking me away to America.
Yogananda arrives in Los Angeles, and on the first night, over 6,000 people attend his talk.
Yogananda came and brought us a truth, a universal truth that no one can escape.
In 1920, he arrives in Boston and gives his first lecture, The Science of Religion, telling people that self-realization is a science of the soul and spirit, and introducing India's ancient philosophy of yoga and meditation. He then establishes an international center in California called the Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF, which becomes the spiritual and administrative heart of his future work. Yogananda travels all over the US giving lectures and he is invited to visit the White House by the President, His Excellency Calvin Coolidge. He becomes the first major Indian guru to have an international influence in the West and makes America his home. More and more people are drawn to his teachings. James Lynn, a wealthy businessman frustrated with life, meets with Yogananda. James Lynn states, "I thought money could give me happiness, but nothing seemed to satisfy me." Upon entering a new realm of learning with Yogananda, he later takes the lifelong monastic vow and is chosen by his master to succeed him as the president of SRF.
Here is a small brown mystic from a nation that very few Americans had ever been to, and he is here delivering his message with such force that he's making converts by the thousands. He was put on a government watch list and kept under surveillance. There was literally a war against yoga being waged in the media.
I am going through the severest trial of my life.
After a visit back to India and realizing that he can do more to reach others with his pen, Yogananda starts to write Autobiography of a Yogi, which is published in 1946 and changes the life of millions. In his book, Yogananda explains how he, the boy Mukunda, came to meet his guru and was transformed into the monk Yogananda.
Yoga has become something that you do with your body, but it's really about the mind. Yogananda said that there was a secret link between the body and the spirit.
The technique of meditation, recharging the body battery with cosmic energy, for it is not a creed or dogma, but the science of the soul and spirit.
If I hadn't read that, I'd just be some horrible person.
While he was writing the autobiography, we set off the first atomic bomb.
The need for the teachings was more urgent than ever.
He always said, the man who can reform himself can reform the world.
The physical world is not the highest reality. There's something beyond that that we can partake of.
Directors Paula De Florio and Lisa Lehman co-produced the movie with Peter Rader, spending 3 years filming in 30 countries around the world. This fascinating film combines true footage from the life of Yogananda with interviews, many with long-time disciples of Yogananda. We witness the spiritual journey of a great soul and are reminded that this physical world is not the highest reality. Rather, we need to look inward and connect to our own divinity. Let us pray and meditate for a while. We'll be right back here on Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to the Venerated Paramahansa Yogananda, Vegetarian, Awake, the Life of Yogananda and the Answer. The film The Answer takes us to Romania during the birth of James Donald Walters in 1926. Always very thoughtful and observant, young James likes to discuss things with his parents and asks many questions. The family lives in many different countries, and James doesn't like what he sees happening in the world. People seem to be angry with one another. Back in the US, James decides to leave college in search of the truth.
What joy I'll know when I find God. I was prepared to leave everything for just a little peace of mind. And now I know that God is the perfection of everything I've ever longed for. I'll be able to help others in the best way possible, yes, but also having a true guru will take me to that answer.
James reads an excerpt from the Bhagavad Gita. He who thus vows his soul to the Supreme Soul, quitting sin, passes unhindered to the endless bliss of unity with Brahma. Intrigued, he reads more on Hindu philosophy and is attracted to the photo of Paramahansa Yogananda on the cover of Autobiography of a Yogi, a book that will change his life forever. James has a realization that God is the answer. He leaves everything behind, traveling to Southern California, where Yogananda lives. He becomes a vegetarian and decides to be a monk like Yogananda. Although Paramahansa Yogananda is taking very few disciples at the time, he immediately accepts James and showers him with the unconditional love of a master. James stays in Mount Washington, California, and becomes a member of this spiritual family, commencing his journey to enlightenment and realizing his lifelong dream.
I want to be your disciple.
I should tell you that I am seeing you only because Divine Mother told me to. You have good karma, God tells me. It is your karmic burden, Walter. In past lives, you were eaten up with doubts. Get devotion. Devotion is the most important thing on the path to God. Millions will find God through this book.
After initiation, James has the chance to spend a lot of time together with his beloved master, learning from and being trained by Yogananda. One day, only a few months after James becomes a disciple, his master sends him to give the service in San Diego. Yogananda also tells him to be like a child and not too serious, and trusts James to edit his books. Watch this movie to see the wonderful experiences and miracles that James undergoes, as well as how Master Yogananda helps him overcome challenges on the path to enlightenment. Through Master Yogananda, we can learn important lessons about the spiritual journey. Based on a true story, the screenplay for The Answer is written by James himself, who later became Swami Kriyananda. Director Pavan Kaul presents the audience with a very close look at the bond between Guru Yogananda and his disciples. Filled with many touching stories, The Answer also refreshes our memory of Yogananda's great teaching. Only God is the answer to all man's yearning. Awake, The Life of Yogananda and The Answer are two thought-provoking inspirational films. Paramahansa Yogananda reminds us finding God is the only purpose of life. He states the most important thing for a disciple is attunement with the Guru's consciousness. Indeed, through the disciples' attunement with the Guru may bring them to God. Noble viewers, thanks for your gracious presence today. Coming up next is Uplifting Vegan Festival from Around the World, Part 1 of 3, right after noteworthy news here on Supreme Master Television. May we all be guided by the great masters back to our real home.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/cs.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/cs.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/cs.
Acara kami menyediakan banyak bahasa. Silakan lihat suprememastertv.com/schedule dan suprememastertv.com/cs.